This equation has its place in a lot of places, such as some science books and T-shirts, and also mass media. This idea was devised by Albert Einstein on 1905 in a paper submitted to the Annalen der Physik called Does the Inertia of a Body Depend Upon Its Energy Content? This idea came out of another of Einstein's ideas, special relativity, which was a radical new way to relate the motions of the objects in the universe. This concept is also known as the theory of relativity. For more interpretation of this equation, we can view this image. Here, E equals to energy, M equals to mass, and C equals to the speed of light. When a mass is thrown at the square of speed of light, it gives a certain amount of energy related to the amount of mass that has been moved in that speed. The more the mass, the more the energy. For further interpretation of this equation, I would like to invite Utsa Bhatta. This equation has proved its significance lies around in every branch of that has been seen so far. It provides us the key understanding of the workings of the universe from the microscopic radioactivity to the Big Bang itself. It gives us better understanding of radiation, which also in turn gives us understanding of creation of us. It creates sustainable nuclear energy, which we know as nuclear power plants, which provide energy from uranium, plutonium. It helped create atom, which was seen Japan, Hiroshima in 1945. This equation also helped in the use of radioactive elements such as plutonium, uranium, thorium as fuel for spacecrafts. And this also helped a lot in space research and space travel. It also helped us understand the energies created by stars, the sun, and the core of the planet itself, as every star has its energy created through nuclear fusion and fission. And the core of the Earth also involves in such processes, which keeps our planet warm. These are the major significances of this equation. Also, there are many other significances that haven't been mentioned yet. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, of course. There is a question answer session for about 5 minutes. Please do ask any questions if related to the concept mainly concept is important here. If we have understood concept, then its applicability or practicality in human day-to-day lives related to science and human lives. If no questions, then we'll go further ahead. In very simple language, just in understandable language. So, what is the practicality of this E is equal to mc squared?
Actually, it helped us to understand how to create energy from any type of mass, mostly some mass of some nuclear elements or radioactive elements. And this was Einstein's idea to in the where moved in a square of light, and this helped us understand mostly about radiation, their electrons and
Okay. Anupama, what is your question to the presenters?
Sir, nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Ekikrit, what is the relation between these two components or the variables like E and EM, energy and mass?
Sir, I was just disconnected. Could you repeat the question again?
Yes. What is the relation between mass and energy? What sorts of relation is there?
Claims that
Am I
any
audible?
mass, as long as it's yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So, if anybody has got further questions, if not, then we'll discuss it again in our next class as well. So let me just share the screen. Khushbu, have you gone through the essay earlier? Have you once read read the essay? Mohit, Riba, Anup, Kizen, and earlier you were just talking about the complexity of the text. Yeah, of course, there is the complexity, and physicist wrote this essay. Sorry, I got again disconnected. What happened to my device? I don't know. I was trying to share just to share the screen and got automatically got switched off. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
We were discussing. Yeah, let me come to the previous topic. We'll have the discussion on this E is equal to mc square and that Albert Einstein theory or theory of relativity, its applicability, even the basic concept They have Ekikrit and Utsa have discussed about it, and mainly the this uh, theory and application. Though he propounded the theory, but he did not prove it himself. Later, he left this for the provement by others. So, why did he do so, and what was the practicality, and some related answer questions, especially differences between the types of energy we'll discuss in next later. We were discussing on the concept of environmental aspects, environmental essay, the rebate poppers. So the introduction only we have discussed in our previous class. So let's move into another section, the second section, let's say. And can you, Ekigrit, can you continue sharing your screen of previous topic?
That same
Yeah, same rebate.
presentation, or
Yes.
okay, sir.
And let me remind you, just we discussed on two things. About the firstly, introduction about Paul and Henry Elric, and as the scientists and professors in the Stanford University in USA, they have researched a lot and worked on the human ecology, human relations to environment, and also some aspects related to Earth. I, I don't think that I have downloaded this. I have uploaded this in the LMS. So yeah, you can go through your Gmail. And in the beginning, we discussed about we are simply the passengers. We are just in the terminal of the airport, and we are all passengers. Then we found one of the passengers just taking nut bolts or those rivets of the aeroplane, and he is just going to sell them or taking them away to his home. May not have that much effect on our flight or our uh, journey, or our, let's say, uh, our journey or to our tour. But if everybody does so, uh, or everybody uh, takes away those rivets out of its wing, of course it will have some effect. Then that effect will be devastating for the human beings. But humans are not aware of this, not clear about these aspects, these effects. Let's say that is what we discussed in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, we discussed about, or we are compared with those rivet poppers who have been involved in taking away the wings of the nut bolts of the aeroplane. That means here, uh, the aeroplane is compared with the ecosystem, we call biodiversity, and rivets means the humans. And rivets here are all the plants, animals, biotic and abiotic aspects of the nature. So this comparison has been made between rivets and poppers. And now thirdly, he says, we all humans in the world are just the paupers, rivet paupers. And this is an example of metaphor in the essay. So this is metaphorical essay. It's a title itself is metaphorical. Uh, and thirdly, he says, everyone, the great leaders, those from USA, from other countries, from developed countries, from developing countries, all they are the rivet poppers, because they have been involved in uh, exploiting much excessively to the resources. Or we have some roles and responsibilities. We have been responsible for those uh, plants and animals, animals destruction. So this is what we discussed in our previous class. US Department of Agriculture, any organization, any person or any bureau of the governance body that has been responsible for this deteriorating the situation, or just making it worse or worsen the situation. This is what is happening in the world. We discussed this. And next one is, he says, they say, the writers, actually this was the hypothesis. You must have studied this in your +2 level in biology as well if you are from science. If not, just simply that Paul Ehrlich's this is based on Paul Ehrlich's hypothesis. He says rivet poppers um, have been uh, just the concept, the relation between these rivet poppers is, if we do not exploit one or particular creature or particular aspect of the nature, it may not have that much devastating effect. But if we just focus on and take away those, or just hamper or just disturb those who are the main for this ecosystem, or for the balance, maintaining the balance in the ecosystem, if we just haphazardly consume them, if we just lose their condition status from, if they become extinct from the earth, of course that will have some devastating effect in our human life as well. So this growth mania, airline growth mania, is simply imaginary fancy name, and this is not real one. This has just been compared with our ecosystem, and the person who has been traveling or who has been the passenger in the same aeroplane is taking those rebates, or those nail and bolts, for those who have been used there, joining the metal plates or its organs, and the headless end beaten out when the place uh, works there. Similarly, we have been compared with these rebate poppers in the up to the second, either Catholic Church, either hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church, or any army corps of engineers, or any organizations. They have all been compared here with the rebate poppers in the second paragraph. This worked even severely or more when there was industrialization in Europe especially. So what was the effect of industrialization was, just in the name of construction, in the name of manufacturing, in the name of uh, uh, development, let's say, expansion of roads, expansion of buildings, or uh, let's say castles, in some quality of life, just people involved in consuming the resources much more excessively, and that has the direct impact on the nut bolts. That nail bolts means the particular organ in the earth, like somebody just exploited the land, somebody exploited the forest, somebody exploited the uh, the mines, let's say, and they have, of course, the human population grew up along with the quality of life. There was the investment in science and technology. This raised the quality of life, and with this rising of the quality of life, there was more population, or population grew up in stereotyping rate, and this has a direct impact on other creatures in the nature, in the world. So this condition has, of course, been responsible for the bringing devastating effect into the nature. This is his uh, hypothesis, let's say. In the third paragraph, if we look at on page number 138, now all these people, and especially you and we, he comes with this concept. You and we means everyone in the world are certainly not crazy, or they are not malign. So everyone has not been this craziness or wishing evil to others. If we are wishing to evil to those creatures, or we are not kindness to other creatures, most of them are in fact simply uninformed. Some people are exploiting the resources, just being indifferent, just being uneducated. They do not know the status condition of the resources, which is one reason for for writing a book on the process and consequences of rivet popping. So one of the purpose of writing this book is also to make them aware about the condition, what actually human beings doing, and what is the condition of those resources. Next one, he says, they say, especially both writers here, they say rivet popping on spaceship Earth consists of aiding and awaiting the extermination of species, and extermination of species means just populations of non-human organisms. So people have been working, aiding their numbers, and it has direct impact on other species. The European lion, some align bodies. Uh, Let me just recall your memory. If you have gone through what is the role of align bodies or align creatures in the biodiversity in your biology, Utsaha? Okay, Ekikrit.
Same goes for me, sir. I didn't
Okay,
read
Sadiksha,
biology.
what about you, and anyone else? Okay, no one. If concept is not clear, what I mean here is uh, there are there is the influence of align species. uh, for example, align species like, let's say, corona at present. How has it impacted humans? How has it impacted other creatures? So invasion of these aligned powers or aligned species, which we call, which just non-human organisms, they may be viruses or they may be other that have affected the nature or the ecosystem as well. The European line, the passenger pigeon, the California parakeet, and the Cyril brown butterfly are some of the numerous rivets that are now irritably gone. Means some they have become extinct. The chimpanzee, the mountain gorilla. Earlier there were many in numbers. They were many in numbers, but they have been extinct. Siberian tiger, right whale, and California condor are prominent among many rivers that are already loosened. They have been extinct. So it is again the effect into the ecosystem because of human population, because of human doings, or simply because of us. We are the rebate poppers. We have been involved in disturbing their numbers, or their we are responsible for their extinction. The rest of the perhaps 10 million species and billions of distinct populations still more or less hold firm. Some of these species supply or could supply important direct benefits to humanity, and all of them are involved in providing free public services without which society could not persist. So in this paragraph, we just simply discuss some of the uh, some of the once famous creatures, and those who have very important role, which have very important role in maintaining ecosystem balance, maintaining balance in ecosystem. They have already loosened their existence from the earth. That means they have become extinct, and these are some listed here. And because of this, simply there is the disturbance in the whole ecosystem as well. We don't consider this, but there is some sorts of effect. The natural ecological system of earth, which supply these vital services, are analogous. They are similar to the parts of an aeroplane. So what is the relation of one nail or bolt with another one, just in joining the parts of it? Similarly, there is similar analogous. That is analogous means that is similar to the parts of the airplane that make it a suitable vehicle for human beings. Just jotting down those parts and parts the whole aeroplane has been existed. Similarly, because of with the parts of these species, one or the other, something may have even more important role, something less, but they all are the species. They are all like the same parts or same rivets of the aeroplane. They have some important roles there. But ecosystems are much more complex than wings or engines. Simply that is one of the mysterious, one of the unique establishment of human conscience, aeroplane. But even that, more than that, there is the complexity in our nature, in our ecosystem. It is interplay. Ecosystem is the interplay uh, between or among biotic and abiotic aspects, and there is even much complexity regarding the parts or the species in the ecosystem. This is quite unique engineering in the world. Ecosystems like well-made aeroplanes tend to have redundant subsystems and other design features that permit them to continue functioning after absorbing a certain amount of abuse. A dozen rivets or dozen species might never be missed. On the other hand, a 13th rivet popped from a wing flap or an extinction of key species involved in cycling of nitrogen could lead to serious accident. So, if you are not from that group, simply what is the concept behind this? Behind this is I'm also not from that group, but I have read in the part of one aspect, like scientific explanation behind this Rivet-Poppers hypothesis, Rivet-Poppers analogy. They just believe, scientists just believe that there is an individual role in conserving the biodiversity, and if there is one let's say one attack on it, it simply means have many further devastating effects in creatures, in birds, in other species of the planet, of the ecosystem. So the writers here, they in the uh, paragraph, they just discuss there are dozens of rivers, rivets. In the aeroplane, there are dozens, hundreds, thousands of rivets, but all they do not have the equal role. All they do not have equal functioning. Some can may even present very key role, like the main key bolts or nuts, nails, and some may be just alternative ones. If we disturb those, if we take out those key rivets, similarly, if we just lose our key species from the environment, of course, it will have devastating effect, and there will be the serious accident. So, like he gives example of cycling nitrogen. Nitrogen. What is the role of nitrogen in the ecosystem? Any idea?
It's an antioxidant.
Sorry.
It's an antioxidant.
Mm, I have problem. Can you
It
repeat it?
makes the soil fertile.
Good. So, if there lacks nitrogen on the earth, what may be the condition of other creatures? You can imagine. So it has direct impact or direct disturbance in maintaining other balance in other species. That is one. So that means the key species are loosened. जस्तै यो पृथ्वीबाट इकोसिस्टमबाट त्यस्ता की स्पेसिसहरू जसको महत्त्वपूर्ण रोल छ त्यस्तालाई लुज गरियो भने चाहिँ के होला, त्यो केबाट केसँग कम्पेयर गर्छन् भनेपछि राइटरहरूले जस्तै नट बोल्टहरू हुन्छन् जहाजमा, जुन एरोप्लेनमा सबै त त्यति महत्त्वपूर्ण हुँदैनन्, केही सहायक पनि हुन्छन्, त्यो सहायकलाई भन्दा पनि की नट बोल्टहरूलाई झिकिएर बेच्यो भनेपछि के होला त त्यसले? Of course, that will lead a serious accident. So he compares the same, like the 13th rivet popped from a wing flap or the extinction of key species. If there becomes the extinction of key species, of course, that will have some devastating effect on the cycling and of like nitrogen, and one disturbance means there are other series of disturbances. That is the matter here. In next paragraph, they say, in most cases, an ecologist can no more predict the 12 consequences of extinction of given species than an airline passenger can assess the loss of a single rebate. But both can easily foresee, they can predict the long term results of continually forcing species to extinction or of removing rebates after rebate. If one, suppose one taken out of some nuts, some bolts, or some rebates may not have that much effect, may not lose, may not do some harms, but continuously everyone involved in taking out those rebates, those from its wings, of course there will be faster and successive danger or risk. In the same way, we can have the similar condition in species and their uh, enforcement of their extinction. We are forcing their extinction. We are just losing one after another, like removing rebate after rebate. No sensible airline passenger today would accept a continuous loss of rebates from jet transports. And similarly, we are aware of nature. This is our aeroplane. We have been taking out all this, and we must not be we must not have negligence in taking those rebates. Before much more time has passed, attitudes must be changed. So, what can be done? What are the consequences, and what can be done? This is what they say. Attitudes, first of all, human attitudes should be changed. They must be changed so that so that no same passenger on spaceship earth will accept a continuous loss of populations or species of non-human organisms. Then only if attitudes are changed, then no sane passenger, like who has not been responsible for its devastation on spaceship earth, this on this earth, they will accept a continuous loss. We are no more ready to listen that continuous loss of the population or of any species of non-human organisms. Our loss means the loss of other organisms as well. So, like uh, various risks have challenged human existence, and all this is again responsible. Like corona, if you say corona is also the responsible result of humans. Do you believe? Is there any role, or is corona the byproduct of humans? What do you say? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Amit, how do you justify that corona is the byproduct of human doings? Amit,
Yes, sir.
how do you say or just view that corona is the byproduct of humans?
Because I think that since people they started eating animals meat like bats and other animals, that virus it spread out to the people and caused a pandemic.
Good. So, after all, in conclusion, we can say humans disturbed the, let's say, the the maintenance of this ecosystem, and it is the byproduct. So this ecological system has been disturbed, and over most of the several billion years, 2.5 billion years million years ago, human history begins. And there is one interesting, the human evolved around 2.5 million years ago, and then they started agriculture about 11,000 years ago. So since then they have captured the land and so on. Because with this, over most of the several billion years during which life has flourished on this planet, our existence in this planet, Its ecological systems have been under what would be described by the uh, airline industry as progressive maintenance. As they said, for progressive maintenance, it is also important. It is also necessary. In the same way, just our human population or human experts or some people who have been involved in it, they describe uh, the ecosystem is in its a progressive maintenance. It continues its progressive maintenance. Yes, it does. To larger extent, as we said, ecosystem is complex and it works betterment for always for its progressive maintenance. But to certain time, to certain extent, it may cease, that may stop. Uh, Rivets have dropped out or gradually worn out. Same is the condition with the resources, with the species, but they were continuously being replaced. One nail or bolt is worn out, then it they changed. They may maintain the progress in the airline. Similarly, we can maintain, or nature itself maintains that progressive maintenance in the ecosystem. But if this lasts for long or uh, for a unknown or time or long time, it may cease. It cannot be replaced. In fact, over much of the time, our species was being strengthened by the insertion of more rivets than were being lost. Some uh, rivets were taken. Instead, we can use another even stronger, uh, and we may strengthen the condition of the aeroplane. Similarly, we can replace those extinct species with some new or with something interesting. Only since about 10,000 years ago has there been any sign that that process might be less more or less permanently reversed. That was when a single species, Homo sapiens, began its meteoric rise to this planetary dominance. And only in about the last half century has it become clear that humanity has been forcing species and populations to extinction at a rate greatly exceeding that of natural attrition and far beyond that rate, the rate at which natural processes can replace them. So this maintaining of the resources or species and humans and their ways of misutilizing, there is not the same condition, same replacement that cannot exist with the same ratio with time duration, and there has been the disturbance. In the last 25 years or so, the disparity between the rate of loss and the rate of replacement has become alarming. So earlier there was the replacement, there was good maintenance, but some 25 years or so, the condition has become something different. There has been the disparity between the rate of loss and the rate of replacement. There must be even more rate of replacement, but there could not be, and ultimately there occurred, or the consequence was there was more rate in more or highly the loss in that has brought the disparity in the condition. In the next 25 years, in the future, unless something is done, unless something is taken from human part or human beings or some curative measures, it promises to become catastrophic for humanity. Look at even a single virus might have or must this has shown our existence in risk. So if in next 25 years, if the same situation continues, humans just misutilize the resources in the same way, what would be the condition after 25 years? We can guess. And writers believe that it promises, means the situation promises. It has challenged, it has shown its alarming effects. that the condition would become catastrophic for humanity, for whole human sake. Next paragraph. To form of the catastrophic is the form of the catastrophic is unfortunately difficult to predict. We cannot predict what would be the condition, but it would be, of course, catastrophic. It would be devastating, khatarnak hunech, but we cannot predict that effect. Perhaps the most likely event will be an end of civilization in T.S. Eliot's Whimper. As writer, one of the most famous writer, T.S. Eliot, poet T.S. Eliot said, Whimper, similar would be the case. There must be a most likely, there is the chance that it will be the end of civilization. Human civilization will end it. As nature is progressively improvised, nature is progressively improved, its ability to provide a moderate climate, clean air and water, recycle wastes, product crops, protect crops from pests, replenish soils, and so on will be increasingly degraded. This will be the uh, these will be the symptoms, or along with these symptoms, there will be even further degradation. The human population will be growing as the capacity of Earth to support people is shrinking. So the number of carrying capacity, let's say the carrying capacity of the Earth is shrinking day by day because it cannot have that flexibility. Um, Let me just ask you one. Have you gone through Robert Malthus' uh, population theory? Have you heard about it? Robert Malthus' population theory. Can you raise your hands, those who have heard? Sorry. Yes, others? Anshu, Anup, Kizen?
No, sir.
Okay. So what Robert Malthus says is human population grows in arithmetic way, geometric way, and the resources like agriculture, its production, this rest of the production, these things just only go in its arithmetic way. Production, overall capital gain, or so on. This goes on in arithmetic way. On the other hand, human population like 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 6, 8 to 4 to 16, and then in that ratio. But on the other hand, the production like 1, 2, 3, 4, or arithmetic, simply arithmetic way, and there is misbalance or mismatch. So there will be these devastating effects, like there will be the waste, there will be no more clean air and water in the earth, no more moderate climate, there will be some like the environmental aspects, degradations. The human population will be growing as the capacity of earth to support people is shrinking. Our resources are limited. They can not meet our demands and needs. They can have some shrinking nature. That's why there will be mismatch. Rising death rates and the falling of quality of life will lead to a crumbling of post-industrial civilization. So in this we are in now almost around post-industrial civilization. There was the industrial civilization. People just expected for a life expectancy, higher life expectancy, more qualitative life, and so on, better life opportunities, and so on. Still we are, but there will be a crumbling of post-industrial rates and the falling of quality of life during this post-industrial civilization, when humans suffer a lot. The end may come so gradually. It is not in the wink of eyes, but it will continue. It will go ahead gradually. That the hour of its arrival may not be recognizable. When does it arrive? It may not be just may not be uh, predictable. But it, of course, it is on the way. It is on the uh, process. But the familiar world of today will disappear without the lifespan of many people now alive. So uh, those who have alive now at present, they will disappear. There will be extinction of humans as well. Like if you look back the history of human civilization and so on, we came from the cave, and now we are in the civilized modern world. But who knows, there may be some extinction of those many of the uh, in lifespan, like instead of 70, 80 years, they may be just for lesser years. Of course, next paragraph. Of course, the bang is always possible. It is, of course, we can predict this uh, this catastrophe is possible. This may happen. For example, it is likely that destruction of the rich complex of species in the Amazon basin would bigger rapid changes in global climatic patterns. We can see nowadays, or just read the news, in those Amazon basin, some of the complexities there because of the fire, because of other destructions, that has brought rapid changes in the species, in their number, in their uh, nature, in their balance, and so on. Agriculture remains heavily dependent on a stable climate. So, for agricultural aspects, we need stable climate. But there is unstable climate. We need the rain in the season, but we are not getting that rain in proper time. This is no stability in climate, or climatic condition has become unstable, and human beings remain heavily depend on food. By the end of the century, this 21st century, and after 22nd or so, by the end of the 21st century, the extinction of perhaps a million species, like uh, species in the Amazon basin, could have entrained famines in which a billion human beings perished. So that is the effect. That is the long-term effect of what would be the condition of humans. So a billion human beings perished. They get extinct. And if our species is very unlucky, any of the species that is very unlucky, the famines could lead to a, thermonuclear war. So thermonuclear war, that again is responsible with human activities, natural, environmental or ecosystem degradation, that which could extinguish civilization. This thermonuclear war, nuclear with that even nuclear war is maintained. It can be controlled and checked or stopped. But with human doings, a thermonuclear war cannot be stopped. That will ultimately, that could ultimately extinguish civilization. And there is more possibility if the ratio, if we as Rivet-Poppers continue doing our misdeeds to the nature. Last paragraph. Fortunately, the accelerating rate of extinctions can be arrested. What is happening? So how much the acceleration rate going on? These extinctions can be arrested. It will not be easy, of course, to the whole humanity, to all developed and developing world. It will not be easy uh, to accelerate that rate of extinction. That cannot be arrested. That cannot be uh, seized. That cannot be stopped. It is going on. It will require both the education of and concerned action by awareness first, and then concentration. Worried people must have their attention fully. Uh, just implement the awareness into action. That is important. Hundreds of millions of people, by hundreds of millions of people, not by single, not by uh, Nepalese government, not by one particular nation or institution. It is joint effort by many others that is required. Almost all, because they are everybody. They are the rivets. They are rivets of the earth. They are poppers of these rivets, and they must work together. But no tasks are more important. because extinctions of other organisms must be stopped before the living structure of our spacecraft is so weakened that a moment of stress it fails and civilization is destroyed. Civilization को अन्तिम डिस्ट्रोय हुनुभन्दा अगाडि र यो स्पेसक्राफ्टलाई कमजोर बनाउनुभन्दा अगाडि नै त्यस्ता कामहरू गरिनुपर्छ, अन्यथा there is no any value of those actions at all, those education at all, or those awareness at all. So this is all about their Rivet-Poppers. There are some interesting questions as well. We don't have much time for this discussion, but if you just go through, I'll upload this document, this PDF into the LMS notes. Please go through this, and you have to discuss, like there are some questions related to our country, like do you consider yourself to be Rivet-Poppers? Explain your answer. How have you been responsible to degrade the situation of the ecosystem, species, and so on? Important question. Next one is main argument of the essay. That is also important. Next one is the passage maintains several species that have become extinct or that are in danger of becoming extinct. Give one example of species from Nepal's ecosystem that is endangered. So Ekikrit, can you go into the question session answer? Last one, discussion questions. Yes, that one. So discussion questions. This is important, and you will be asked the questions in your test from the same as well. So further, if you have some concerns, some curiosities, we'll discuss in our next class, and you will get some PPTs into the slide as well. Though I had prepared sharing with those. If we have time, I will share this in our next class. Unfortunately, my device did not even worked. It just says, what might be the problem of such behavior of the device? It gets opened and automatically gets switched off. Any idea? It's a problem of battery. Sometimes it functions well, and this happened me from yesterday only. Maybe the problem of virus, yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
can you say the syllabus for UT?
Okay, just there was the routine for your unit test from next Sunday, but I'm not taking this. Just I consulted with the college admin, and I'll take the test after we complete all these remaining sections from section 1 essay. Under we have 3-4 essays remained. We'll complete them, and then I will take the unit test, and you will get just revise all chapters from section 1 essay section. Utsa, any question? Okay, Ekikrit, just you can stop your sharing. Thank you very much for assisting us. So you will get further PPTs and materials in the note section. This much for today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.